Alan, I just check first of all, the health of the squad. How the players last weekend?
I've still a few boys with bumps and bruises, modified training programme at the beginning of the week, but we're hopeful that we'll have a strong side out on Saturday.
There weren't any significant injuries to come out of the game or anything?
Obviously Tom Haberfield took a bang to the esophagus, so just waiting to see how that resolves. He trained this morning, but it's still a question mark. I just, you know, it was accidental. There was nothing. There was no malice in it. I'd like to stress that. But we're just waiting to see. Tom's positive.
Obviously, this is a big one. Nicky's just been in and said it's his first major test. Would you agree in terms of as a full strength side?
Yeah. I think when you look at your season, you look at your first 6 Pro14 games, for us, getting through to where we are at this stage after 5 games, we'd see this, yes, as a mini test. We probably, in our view, or most definitely in my view, we've won the games that I expected us to win, and that's not been disrespectful to anyone. With 3 at home and 1 away. Within that block of wins, and now we go to a side that's been at the top of Pro14 rugby and indeed European rugby last year. So it's most definitely going to be a real test for us and the benchmark of how far we've come. And I think it's exciting for both sets of supporters.
Do you feel, in terms of progress, that you made significant strides in these opening 6 weeks?
I'm pretty self-effacing about things like that. That's for other people to write, but certainly as a team, I feel there's a real healthiness about the place. There's a desire to come to work. There's a desire to play well, and I suppose if you look at the number of tries we've conceded or lack of tries we've conceded in our 4 wins, that tells you something about the morale of the group.
Obviously, you've got a couple of ex-Scarlets in the ranks. Have you been getting a bit of inside information from those 2 boys of them?
I think when you look at the diaspora of Welsh rugby, there are people from all over in all sides. You know, the 4 teams and 4 regions. So that's not exclusive to the Ospreys. Everybody knows each other so well within the Welsh rugby environment and community. You know, these boys are rubbing shoulders. They're talking to each other on a weekly basis, I would suggest. So yeah, like Allen and Scott, most recent to have come from Scarlets to this region. But as I say, they've just been supporting the group. They've been focusing on their own roles and responsibilities to ensure that we're in the best state of affairs come Saturday.
Can I ask specifically about Allen? Obviously, he's come here for more regular rugby, and can you say how much you were impressed by how he slotted into the group?
Yeah, like I've said it before, he's a really good person. He's come in and he's showing that he's a winner. He's got an edge. He's ambitious, but he's equally a good team person. I see him working with the other 9s, and that healthy competition within the group stimulates performance, drives performance. And as a 9 within our team, yes, he does bring a quality skill set that gets us moving. And I know, you know, the boys on behalf of him are really looking forward to the game this Saturday.
Yeah, so obviously there'll be a lot of focus if Gareth Davis plays with Scarlets, Allen plays with the Ospreys on that head-to-head. Is there a danger that the players can sort of be caught up in that points to prove types?
These guys are too good for that, to be honest. Both teams, you know, they've been there before. They'll be there again. They recognise that individual rewards come from team performance.
Thank you. Speaking of the history of the fixture, Alan, we were speaking of the Scarlets earlier. Ken Owens has played through this fixture over a decade or so. There's always been a talk about the Ospreys having a kind of mental hold on the Scarlets before they started winning in recent years. Is there a feeling in this squad that you can get some kind of mental stronghold over them, or is that kind of gone with teams in the past?
Are you saying that we've got a mental stronghold over the Scarlets, or Scarlets mental?
It's been suggested that there used to be one, yeah, for the Ospreys. Over the
Like the mental aspect of the game's critically important. You have to have trust and belief in the guy beside you, know that he's got your back, that you've got his back, that he'll perform his role under pressure, and he can live those moments when you're under the cosh, you're surviving, and equally when you get those opportunities, that you grab those opportunities. So the mental aspect of it is really important. That'll look after itself closer to the fixture, closer to kick-off on Saturday at 3 o'clock. For now, in the early part of the week, it's about clarity, so that you don't have to worry about thinking of your roles and responsibilities come Saturday, and you can go out and give that little bit extra that comes naturally because of the mentality, because of the emotion, the passion, and what we represent.
And when it comes to that mentality and that passion closer to kick-off, how important are figures such as Allen Jones being here and have enjoyed so much success over the Scarlets before this kind of recent period of Scarlet success? Yeah,
again, when you've got people within your ranks who've been successful and who are successful and who are world class, that gives you a tremendous inner belief and confidence. But equally, it demands from you the need to step up and deliver to the level that they expect of themselves, and equally they expect of you.
Are there matches that you as coaches enjoy more than others as well?
I enjoy every game, to be honest, but yeah, there's always, when the fixture lists first come out, everyone's looking at the first round of derbies. Doesn't matter whether you're here or across the water, and with those, you know that there's an extra buzz around the community. Again, Wales is the rugby family's quite clustered, and as a result of that, I'm living in an environment where there are a number of Scarlets fans and equally a number of Ospreys, if not more Ospreys fans. So that rivalry is daily, and it comes to boiling point at 3 o'clock on Saturday. It's you can't help but get caught up in it.
It's a big period of the season as well, isn't it, with European rugby on the horizon, the autumn internationals as well. Whatever the sport, the word momentum gets used quite a lot. Do you believe in it as a concept? Can you harness it as a useful thing?
Yeah, you have momentum in a season, you have momentum in blocks of games, and you have momentum in game, and it's how you manage those periods when you're on the front foot, when there are opportunities presenting themselves, when to play the ball in hand and when maybe to put the ball back in the opposition because the momentum's starting to turn against you. And you look at the best teams in the world, you look at the best international team in the world, New Zealand, they're tremendously good at managing momentum, when to play, when to strike, when to put the ball back in the opposition. So yeah, we've had 4 wins as I say, against teams that I expected us to, 4 victories I expected us to pick up, but the real test comes this Saturday.
I'd sort of imagine your next 3 games, they're obviously in the big competition in Europe, so they've got 3 massive games coming up. Yours are a slightly lower level, so this would be the big focus the next 3 weeks. I don't know if that's right, but if it is, would that give you an advantage?
We haven't actually addressed it that way. We've looked at it as this is the end point of this 6-week block, and then we'll reassess for the Challenge Cup. But you've got to remember that in the Challenge Cup we play Pau, Worcester and Stade Francais. So Stade Francais currently are second in the top 14.
So you won't be taking your foot off the pedal in terms of selection and stuff, is that?
I'm going to take my foot off the pedal at 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon, take a breath for a few hours, and then I'll start thinking about next week.
What sort of challenge are the Scarlets going to bring in terms of, they've always had this reputation as, they like to play rugby behind the scrum, don't they? They've got a lot of strike runners. I mean, how do you stop that with people like McNichol and...
Yeah, and I think it's a good observation. It's well documented. The number of tries they score outside, in their outside backs and off broken field play. But you can't do that without a decent pack and a good pack. So the principles of the game in terms of possession to go forward, that starts and finishes up front. So I look at that Scarlets pack, and they didn't get to the the finals of Pro14 or the semi-finals of European Cup without having a platform. So the challenge for us is to go to their ground and take them on in that regard, and equally see how we can impact our game upon them.
Can I ask about Owen Watkin as well? I mean, obviously he's played really well this season, and you know he's in the Wales squad. But you know, you would have thought that he'd be up against if you selected against Hadley Parks and Jonathan Davis, who probably the first choice Welsh centres. I mean, it's the acid test for him, isn't it? Because if he does well against them, then you know could maybe get in ahead of them. Who knows?
Yeah, like there are a lot of individual battles around the field. That's one of them. And again, it's like the 9 battle, the 10 battle, maybe the hooker battle, the loose head prop battle, the second row battle, the back row battle, the wings battle. You know, you complement one another, and you know, O's has a responsibility to deliver. You know, you get to this stage, you get to these type of games, you can't afford too many mistakes, particularly away from home. For us, we recognise that it's important that we deliver, and we deliver at a level that we probably haven't delivered at this season.
So do you think you'd have to go up another level to beat the Scarlets on Saturday?
Most definitely.
And let me ask you about Luke. He was in here earlier, Luke Morgan. Has he exceeded expectations this season in making the transfer from Sevens to 15 side form?
I don't know if exceed is quite right, but he certainly has shown a consistency and a progression from what we saw, which is the reason why we brought him into the 15s programme, and we're delighted with how he's responded. We played him in a number of pre-season games, A games, to give him that foothold where there was less pressure on him. I thought he was tremendous in his first home game. I thought he was tremendous in Munster first and foremost, then his first home game, and as a result of that he's been selected on merit as opposed to just to see how he's going. It's important that we've competition throughout. Keelan Giles is coming back, you know, Hanno Dirksen's had a little bit of a niggle. He's now back on the field, and Tom Williams is getting plenty of footy in the A programme also.
How much potential is there with you?
I'd like to think there's a way to go yet. He's relatively new to the 15s, but you know what he's doing on the ball is exciting, and he's got that X factor which you need as a 15 or as an outside back, as a winger. But equally, it's work off the ball, it's his reads in defence, it's his backtracking, his grass field cover. So he probably, going back to your initial question, exceeding expectation. We've been delighted with how quickly he's picked up on the roles within the back three, and as a result of that, he's in a good place.
And can you just look Keelan, the time frame in terms of his potential coming back?
Yeah, Keelan's back training with us now fully. The longer we can give him, the better, obviously, returning from the injury that he had. But we'd like to think that, you know, towards the next period of games, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, that he may get some football for us.
Do you think he's had so many injuries, he's such a talent, do you think he's coming back physically in a shape that we could see a run of games from?
Yeah, like he's been tremendous in training. We're probably having to reel him back in, which is always a good sign.
Pace undiminished?
He's running really good numbers at the moment and looks electric.
You could race that Luke Morgan, Keelan Giles.
Yeah, certainly one I wouldn't be in. I would like to say something, if I may.
Yeah.
Just by way, there was an article during the week talked about defence, and it give all the credit to one member of our coaching team. First and foremost, it's the Ospreys defence. Secondly, Sean Edwards has come in and been absolutely fantastic, but equally so has Bradley Davis, our defence coach. And it's a combination of people working together. It hasn't just been one person, and I'd just like to put that on the record. We are quite precious as coaches, you know, but I think for me as head coach, it's important to recognise that, yeah, like there are headline stories out there, but equally we gotta be honest and upfront about who's doing what within our organisation. First and foremost, we work in an environment which is co-coaching. We're challenging both sides of the ball all the time, And secondly, within our defence and the people that drive the drill, it's Brad Davis with Sean Edwards. I appreciate your time for that.
Was there always when he came in, because the same happened to the Blues last year, he, not through his words, he was always the first to deflect, but
Well,
he got a lot of the attention then, he was always going to get a lot of the attention.
And,
yeah.
you know, for people who've worked within international rugby, they'll understand that you'll always get a spike when your international coaches come in and work with a region. And all credit to Sean Edwards. He's of the same volition since he's been here. It's very much Brad Davis's defence. He's coming in and giving us that spike in elements of the game that we've asked him to. But the working relationship, the drilling of what we want to do on the field on a weekly basis to perform on a Saturday is within that co-coaching environment.